first things first, guys. How are you?
Good. How about you?
I'm all right, thank you. Well, before we talk about the new record, I'd like to go back a little bit. I'll start with you, Zach. Do you recall the first album you bought with your own money?
Yeah, it was Presidents of the United States. I don't recall the name of the record, but that's the first record I ever bought.
Do you remember why you wanted it?
Because that song, Peaches.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And then,
Young kid. It was fun.
were you into music at that point?
Yeah, as much as any kid could be, I guess.
Already playing as well, or not that far? Okay.
No, I didn't start playing until high school, later in high school.
Do you remember at the point what kind of compelled you to pick up a guitar?
My brother played guitar, so just thought I'd play bass. Yeah.
Did you ever try to play with him in the same way you did with Brittany when?
Not much, no. He wasn't living at the house at the time. He had moved out, so we didn't play much together, but I just thought I'd pick up an instrument, and we played a little bit, but not much.
Okay. And Heath, for you, the first record?
I think on the same day we went to Walmart and I got 2 cassettes. I got ACDC Back in Black, then Metallica and Justice for All. Just because Beavis and Butthead wore ACDC and Metallica shirts. And I was really pumped about those cassettes.
And if you have to, well, it's going to be difficult, but if you had to pick one, did you find one a little bit more compelling?
Yeah, I'm still a big ACDC fan.
What about them did you enjoy?
I don't know. There's just something really linear and hard driving about their music, and I think that to some they might come off as a novelty thing, and I think probably always have been, but I don't know. It's just really, really good rock and roll to me.
So, well, the Dead Kennedys aren't as big as AC/DC are, but would you say then rock is definitely the foundation of what has become Alabama Shakes?
I'd say it's important. I think all of us like a lot of different rock and roll bands and artists, and in classic rock to current independent rock and roll things. I'd say that's definitely part of the foundation.
Okay. Do you remember your impression of Zac when you first met him?
When I first met Zac?
Yeah.
I feel like I've always kind of known who Zac was. I mean, he had a brother who was older than me, and then I knew who Zac was. Zac's a few years younger than me, and then they had little brothers, and Zac and them lived on the same street I lived on.
Okay.
And I remember going trick-or-treating at their house one time, and they opened the door, and it's like all these kids, and I didn't really know what was going on up there, but I knew it was a big family, and I've just always known Zac. I've always recognized him, and so I don't know my first impression of him, but I just knew he was from a big family really early on.
And then when did you start playing? Did you know he played music, or was that later?
That was later. I think I was probably in college and was coming home, visiting friends and stuff, and started hearing about Zac playing music, and Zac and Brittany were playing music. My buddy George kept telling me, you gotta hear him, you need to check him out. And I think one day we even were going to jam together at George's house or something, and I don't think much came of it. We ended up just hanging out a little bit, but yeah, it was a long process, and when I finally realized the type of stuff that Zac was into, it was a lot of fun hanging out and just talking about music.
Do you know when you eventually heard him and Brittany play, what you thought of it?
Yeah, I guess the very first thing I heard, Steve was playing with them at this point, and they recorded a little 2-song demo, and Steve played it for me, and it was kind of a lot going on. It was like rock and roll and funk, and I don't know, it was a lot of stuff, and I thought it was interesting what they were doing, but we don't play that sort of stuff anymore.
And Zac, for you, how did you see the music at this point, the very, very early stages?
We just played all kinds of stuff. We were just, I guess, just trying to get comfortable with playing. You know, when it was just me and Brittany early on, we just goofed off for several years. And we didn't, at least I know I didn't really even have a plan of starting a band or anything. We were just having fun. And we would make little songs and stuff and never play them out or anything, just like make a CD and let our friends listen to it or something. And it was fun, you know, but never really had a big vision of doing this. And it's crazy when you think about it, to be doing it.
Right.
Even when we made the recordings with Steve at the thing, it was just like something we did. Steve had free studio time, and he was just like, y'all, we should use it. So we went and did it, and it was pretty fun. So it's like, I could do this more. So
Was that kind of the turning point where things started, where you thought maybe I can do this and play for other people?
No, and even not then was I like, this is what I want to do for a living. It was always just something like, this is fun to do. And I guess I did put a lot of focus and time into it, but not expecting to get anything out, like a career or anything out of it, just to do it. And then things started happening, and it's like, well, I guess I can either just like not do it or do it. So we went for it. And
Was it a tough decision?
what's that?
Was it a tough decision for you?
A little bit. I was unsure of it. I mean, I loved the music we were making and wanted to do it, but I was also like, I've got a job I'm happy with, and I'm living, you know, got a place. I'm not living at home. I don't know. I was a little leery about it, but I wanted to get out and play music too, so we did it. But I don't know. That's that.
Am I right in saying that the first record was recorded when the band was only a couple months together?
I think we had been together for a couple years before we actually started recording. It's I don't know, the timeline's kind of fuzzy for me now, but we had been together a while.
Then I must have misread that.
Yeah, it seems like a few people have mentioned that lately, but yeah, we had been together a pretty good while before we started recording in the studio.
After completing Sound and Color now, then how do you look back at the first record?
I'm still really proud of the first record. For what I wanted to do at that time, it was exactly that. It sounded the way I wanted it to sound, and I really loved those songs. And I think I've always known we were going to progress in a different direction for the second album.
Right.
So I'm also really proud of this.
Were you surprised by, because it being your first album, the way it took off, and then you mentioning you didn't really even see yourself doing this as a career, touring and?
Yeah, it was definitely surprising. You know, you try not to think about it too much. I guess you just do it and roll with it, and things start. You know, we kept growing, and it's like, before you know it, you're playing a fairly big size room, and it's like, wow, I don't even realize when this really started taking shape. But I just kind of try and roll with it and see where it goes.
So no expectations really for the future?
I mean, at this point, my expectation is just to keep doing it, you know, but who knows at what level, but just to keep doing it.
And Heath, you mentioned that you got the sound on the first record that you had in mind. Was there a sound that you as a band had in mind for the second record then?
I don't think so. We didn't really talk about it much. I think more than anything, we all just wanted to explore in both songwriting and the process of recording, and kind of challenge ourselves in both ways. And sometimes maybe even a song would be presented, like a track Brittany had created and demoed and passed along to us to see if we'd be interested. And I knew it'd be a challenge for me to come up with a part for that song. So I think I knew really early on it was going to be that sort of process making this album.
Was it, because they always say the way a sophomore record works is there's a lot of pressure, so and you guys definitely took your time to get it right. So Was there maybe from the label or from other standpoints, was there a sense of pressure?
No, we were really fortunate with the record labels that we had signed with for the Boys and Girls were just for one-off record deals.
Right.
And so after that album cycle, we were free
Okay.
of any sort of outside influence or anything like that. So we were in a good spot.
Right.
So not much pressure.